Y'all know what it is already, right? It's your boy Quest, and this is your marriage moment. Let's go. What up, y'all? Welcome to another edition of Marriage Momentz. It's your boy Quest, and for those who are watching for the first time, it's your boy Quest. Man, big shouts out, man, to Pastor Lawrence Souffrant, who sat in with us last night on The Good, the Bad, and the Sexy. Also, shouts out to one of my favorite couples, man, my extended family, you feel me? Tim and Shonda Morris up there in Chicago. We sat and talked last night about the laws of cause and effect. Let me tell you, we need to start making some good decisions because every decision that we make has an outcome attached to it, right? But let me jump into the topic for today. The topic for today, guys, is gear adrift. I'm gonna say it one more time, gear adrift. Me and my boy Preach were having a conversation on the phone this morning, and we were talking about his days, random conversation. I forgot how we got there, but we were talking about his days in the military, specifically in the Navy. And when inspection time came around, right, you had to make sure that your bed was made. You had to make sure that there was no garbage in the receptacles or in the trash can, right? You had to make sure that the lockers that they had were locked, right? You had to make sure that there was nothing lying around, right? Down to your uniform, you need to make sure that your uniform was all intact. No pieces of thread hanging out, nothing. It almost had to be borderline perfect, right? And if there was anything imperfect, or if there was anything out of place, like the sheet slightly off, or if there was a piece of paper in the trash can, or if there was even your locker unlocked, right? The term that they would use for things being out of place is that you are found gear adrift, right? And I'm saying that in marriage, right, some of us are gear adrift. In other words, there are some areas in which we're operating where things are out of place. Let me be more specific. When you and your wife are having a conversation and you feel away, or you and your husband are having a conversation and you have an attitude about what's being said, right? Your attitude could be gear adrift. In other words, your attitude is out of place. You might have a perception or how you look at things, right? Some of you might be raised a different way than your spouse has been raised. And now you're in the marriage and expecting your spouse to operate the way that you operated when you were growing up. Your perspective or your perception of how things ought to be is gear adrift. In other words, it's out of place, right? There may be some thoughts that you have towards your spouse as it relates to how they do a particular thing, right? Yeah, your thoughts might be gear adrift. In other words, your thoughts are out of place, right? Do me a favor. In this season, as we're moving into the new season of our marriage, remember what I've been saying recently, that the old person cannot go into the new season of our marriage. In other words, we need to get ourselves ready, right? So that if anybody looks at our marriage, they can say, I don't know what it is that they have, but I want that too. Feel me? In other words, our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions, our ways of doing things, right? They need to be in position. They need to be in their proper place, right? So that we are not suffering. Our marriage is not suffering. Our relationship with one another is not suffering from the idea of gear adrift. Because you know, in the military, if you're found gear adrift, there's some consequences that come along with that, outside of the fact that you may lose some of your stuff, or it may be lost or stolen, right? Why? Because they weren't secured. The opposite of gear adrift is making sure that everything is secured. Let's make sure that our marriages are secured. Let's make sure that our thought processes are secured. Let's make sure our perceptions are secured, right? In efforts of taking care of the marriage, in taking care of the relationship and moving it to the next level. I implore you, I encourage you, come on, please, in this new season as it relates to your marriage, don't be found with your thoughts or anything else for that matter as it relates to your relationship to be found gear adrift. You feel me? It's your boy Quest saying from shaky to good, from good to great. Ultimately, what we want is phenomenal marriages. But phenomenal marriages don't just happen. It takes work. So let's do that work specifically on making sure that we're not found gear adrift. Because if you're not working on your marriage, then my friends, what are you doing? It's your boy Quest saying peace. What's up, y'all? It's your boy Quest. Listen very closely. February 21st through the 23rd, Miami, Florida. It's the Grow Marriage Conference. Listen, guys, it's gonna be phenomenal. I promise you. We went to Atlanta. It was wonderful in Atlanta. Went to Chicago. We blew it out the water in Chicago. Now we're bringing it to Miami, Florida. Listen, guys, it's gonna be a phenomenal conference in hopes to take your marriage to the next level, right? We're gonna do something called the Grow Marriage Assessment. We're gonna learn to communicate with one another. Why? Because 50% of all marriages end in divorce. Either somebody's not talking, somebody's not listening, or both. And guess what? We're gonna find out our preferences, how that stuff works together, meshes together in our marriages, and sometimes how it just butts heads, how we butt heads with our spouse, right? So remember, February 21st through the 23rd, where is it going down? Miami Temple in Miami, Florida. For more information or for you to register, go to gmcmiami.eventbrite.com. I'm gonna say it one more time. G is in green, M is in marriage, C is in conference. One more time. G is in grow, M is in marriage, C is in conference, Miami.eventbrite.com. Guess what, guys? It's free. No other marriage conference is gonna bring you what we're gonna bring you. It's the Grow Marriage Conference. gmcmiami.eventbrite.com. Don't meet me there, beat me there.